It made me cry.
This one's wife. Why they won't show the kids. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Archie and Lilibet are not seen. They haven't been seen for quite some time. Why is that? Well, some will say there's a very simple answer to that question. They don't exist. The children that have been seen in the past belong to other people and were brought in for the purposes of film and photograph. The Sussexes have no children. Others will say the children do exist, but they live elsewhere. They live with their surrogate mothers. And again, were just brought in for the purposes of film and photograph, but don't actually live with the Sussexes. That's why there are reports of no children at the Montecchio mansion, that they are never seen with them in public, that they're never papped with them, that when they go on their various tours and excursions, the children aren't there. The repeated observations in relation to the children, for instance, asking where are they, in response to the Sussex squad asking where are Kate, the counter response was, where's Archie, where's Lilibet? And there is just a silence. This, naturally, is a threat to control for the narcissist that is this one's wife. To question her, to suggest that she didn't give birth to the children, threatens her need for control. To suggest that she's not a good mother threatens her need for control. To explain that she clearly doesn't have any children because they're never seen threatens her need for control. And as we have seen before, this one's wife repeatedly seeks to nullify those threats to control through the utilization of PR puff pieces. There is another example of this taking place, this time through Harper's Bazaar, which, as you know, is one of the supine publications. But also, as part of the nullification of threat of this control, there is the banging of the drum of the Sussexes in relation to, of course, the need to suggest that there is this ever-present vitriolic hatred towards them that needs to be stamped out, i.e. silence people and curb their freedom of speech. And at the same time suggest that there are hordes of rampaging lunatics who seek to do them harm, and therefore they should have their security paid for. You will have noticed this is becoming a recurring theme with the Sussexes. We're in danger if we go to the UK, but it's all right if we go to Colombia. We're in danger if we go to the UK. It's okay if we go to Nigeria. Colombia and Nigeria are not exactly countries known for their safety record. Nevertheless, the Sussexes, because it's a residual benefit, want their security paid for, and they need to cultivate this idea that there is this near-permanent threat to their well-being and persons. Have we ever seen anybody throw anything at them? No. King Charles has had eggs thrown at him. Nigel Farage, for instance, had a milkshake thrown at him. Donald Trump was shot at. But in relation to the Duchess of Delusion and the Ginger Poodle, there has been no such activity. The worst that they've had has been some booing and the occasional catcall of she's no Princess of Wales. Now, of course, they are public figures and it makes sense to have some security because there are some unhinged individuals out there. But to suggest that there are hordes of rampaging white middle-aged women ready to throw tomatoes at them is simply not borne out by the evidence. Yes, there are many people that don't like them. Yes, there are many people who disapprove of their behaviour. But those individuals are not moved to exact physical violence towards them. But the paranoia of this one's wife will tell her that's the case. And her narcissism will also tell her that's the case because then she can leverage that for the purposes of making herself look like the victim, see how they hate me, see how they want to do harm to me, and also to then bang the drum in relation to shutting those people up, because then nullifying that criticism gives her the control that her narcissism craves, and also to enable them to access the residual benefit of having paid for security. Accordingly, it makes sense for the Sussexes to maintain this narrative that they are somehow under attack. And as you'll hear from this PR Puff piece, once again, they have utilised the children for the purposes of their own needs. Chelsea Sanchez writes, since Prince Harry and Duchess This One's Wife decided to raise their family in Montecito, California, the couple's children have very rarely appeared in the spotlight, and there's an understandable reason for that. Harry has been reluctant to show his children publicly, not out of a desire to hide them, but to protect their privacy and safety from potential threats, a friend of the couple explained to People. He wants them to lead as normal a life as possible without the fear of kidnapping or harm. Well, that's what security is for. To lead a normal life would mean playing out on the beach, wouldn't it? Having play dates with other children, meeting your family, the maternal grandfather, the uncle and auntie in America, grandpapa in the UK, uncle and auntie in the UK, cousins also. Isn't that the normal life? But they're being deprived, to the extent that they exist, of such a normal life, with the suggestion that, well, they're going to be kidnapped or harmed. No. It's natural to apprehend some degree of risk because of the nature of them being public figures, and having some form of security would be advisable. But they would still be able to do things rather than just being hidden away. And thus the suggestion that they're not being hidden away isn't borne out by the actual evidence, because nobody ever sees them. For instance, one sees George, Charlotte, and Louis. Okay, we don't see them on an everyday basis, but you see them periodically turning up to royal events. The first day of school, traditionally when the press are allowed to photograph them with the understanding of leaving them alone thereafter. But you get to see them. You hear about the things that they do, which allows them to lead as normal life as one can have when you're a member of the royal family. But the suggestion that this is all being done to allow Archie and Lilibet to lead a normal life doesn't sit up. After a high-speed paparazzi chase resulted in the death of Princess Diana in 1997, bringing that up again, Harry has been on the front lines of ensuring the safety of This One's Wife and their two kids, 5-year-old Archie and 3-year-old Lilibet. For years, he has fixed his attention on a legal challenge against the Executive Committee for the Protection of Royal and Public Figures over its February 2020 decision to revoke his personal protection in the United Kingdom after he stepped down as a senior royal. Thus, once again, the children are being utilised as an excuse to try and get this security paid for. You've got plenty of money, pay for it yourself. Bear in mind also, Harry and This One's Wife, if you hadn't behaved in the way that you had, then you wouldn't face the level of disapproval that you do. You've brought it on yourselves. That's not to suggest at all that anybody would deserve to be attacked as a consequence of the things that they've said and what they've done. But the fact is, their paranoia is generated by the disapproval that they regularly read about in social media and mainstream media, which then translates into a concern that it might go further. What they fail to recognise is that it's their own behaviour that has caused people to behave in this fashion themselves. Were it not for the way that This One's Wife and Harry had behaved, there wouldn't be this level of dislike. People haven't turned against them for no reason. People have turned against them for the way that they've conducted themselves, and therefore the concerns that they have been generated by their own behaviour. As a dad and husband, Harry is determined to ensure that history doesn't repeat itself. The article continues. During a court hearing in December 2023, the Duke of Sussex explained why he doesn't feel comfortable travelling to his home country with his family. I cannot put my wife in danger like that, and given my experiences in life, I am reluctant to unnecessarily put myself in harm's way too, he told a judge, adding that it is not possible to keep them safe when they are on UK soil. So we'll go to Colombia and Nigeria instead. This is another PR puff piece, which is designed to shut people up in relation to criticising them for never being seen with the children, and at the same time to create the narrative that there are hordes of people who are out there to do them harm, and they need to be silenced and brought to account, and also that their security should be paid for. Transparent, as always. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.